say no. All right. Well, thank you everybody for that warm introduction. 구조장보다. Today is our last live chat of the year here in Paro, Bhutan. Before we get started, I want to introduce myself. My name is Derek Kunhi Kim. I'm a U.S. copyright attorney, as well as an external expert for the World Intellectual Property Organization, which is the United Nations specialized agency dedicated to making sure intellectual property rights are guaranteed throughout the world. It's my great privilege today to be anchoring today's live chat here in Paro, Bhutan. And before we get started, I want to take a moment to thank our sponsors, first and foremost, the Bhutan Ministry of Media, Creative Industries, and Intellectual Property, the Korean Ministry of Culture, Sports, and Tourism, and of course, the World Intellectual Property Organization. And as I mentioned today is actually our last live chat of the calendar year. We have been all throughout Asia Pacific this year. We've been in Korea, the Philippines, the Maldives, Thailand, Malaysia, and we've been going around with one very simple message, and that is copyright is more than just legal theory. It really is the tool that unleashes creative potential. And in every country we go to, we kind of interact with the same questions, and that is, as a musician, how do I monetize my work and how do I get paid fairly? As a creator, what do I have to do to protect the rights that copyright gives me? But the stories we talk about in every country are local, which is why today we're talking about Bhutanese music, Bhutanese artists, and Bhutanese copyright law. Today, we're going to be going through a series of questions, starting off with what does music specifically mean in Bhutan, the rise of independent artists in this country, as well as the potential for a collective management organization, contracts, and licensing, and the future for taking Bhutanese music abroad. Well, that's really enough of me, I think, because today is not about me at all. I am basically a cheerleader on this stage here today. It is about our four very talented people here on stage who have played a very significant role in the Bhutanese copyright ecosystem. So before we get started with the meat and potatoes of our chat, I would love to go right down the line here and have everybody take a quick minute or two to introduce yourself. So why don't we go right down the line here? And yes, Lungten, why don't we start off with you? Could you please introduce yourself?
Okay. Thank you so much, Derek. And thank you so much to all the organizers for having me. My name is Lungten Wangchuk, and I go by the stage name, the Lungten. And I'm a singer, songwriter, and music producer. I studied music engineering from University of South Wales in the United Kingdom. I'm a 27 years old from the eastern part of Bhutan, and I'm based in Thimphu right now.
Thank you so much, Lungten. Yes, we can clap for him. I think it's great to have a rising artist here on stage. So it's a great honor, Lungten, to have you here with us. And speaking about rising artists, why don't we go right down the line? And Pema, could you please introduce yourself?
Hello. Hello, Derek. Thank you for having me. My name is Pema, and I'm also a singer, songwriter, composer, and sometimes actor. So I have not studied music at all. I'm actually, I studied journalism. So, but because of my passion, I left my job to sing and compose. So here I am, and I'm also from Thimphu. Thank you.
Yes, thank you so much, Pema. It's so great again to have two very talented artists on stage here with us. So thank you, Lungten. Thank you, Pema. Why don't we go right down the line here? And Kenga, you've had quite a stint here in the copyright ecosystem. Could you please introduce yourself?
Hello, good afternoon, and kuzusangpu to everyone, to the audience, and to all the viewers that are watching the live chat right now. So my name is Kinga Dorji, and I'm from the private sector. I work in a private company. But before that, I worked as a senior intellectual property officer in the Ministry of Industry, Commerce and Employment under the Department of Media, Creative Industry and Intellectual Property. So while I was working as an intellectual property officer, my main role and responsibility was to support the promotion and development of the creative industry and also administering the copyright regime in the country. And while working in the department, I also had the opportunity and privilege to work with the creators from all the sectors. So I guess I'm here today to share my knowledge and experience as a former copyright and creative industry professional. So I'd like to thank WIPO, and I'd also like to thank DoMCIIP for giving me this opportunity and platform. Thank you.
Yes, thank you so much, Kenga. We're definitely looking to hear from his experience before and also in the private sector now as well. And last, but certainly not least, I like to call him the father of Bhutanese copyright, in my opinion. Tempa, could you please take a second and introduce yourself?
Hello and Kuzuzangpo from Paro, Bhutan, to everyone on site and those who are joining us online. First of all, I would like to thank WIPO and Ministry of Culture, Tourism and Sports of Korea for hosting live music from Bhutan. Among many other member countries, I think we feel fortunate to be part of this host to share live chat from our country. And I would also like to take this opportunity to thank WIPO for all the technical assistance in the form of projects, programs, legislative review and assistance that you have provided us, including the capacity building of the intellectual property officers so far. Because of WIPO, our office has shaped up its IP ecosystem. May not be at par with developing country, but with most of the the emerging economies. And with this, I would like to introduce myself. I am Tempa Sering. I've been working for relatively very long time in the field of industrial property, mainly in the patent design and trademark registration, legislative sort of implementation, and other related programs, projects such as TICS, branding, and so on. And with the office, restructuring of our intellectual property department by inclusion of craft, media, and other relevant sectors, the office has expanded. And the copyright division has been expanded as Copyright and Creative Industry Promotion Division. So this year I have been assigned as the chief of the CCIPD, we call it in short. That's why I'm fairly new father. It's just 1 year ago I've joined this division. And our works actually involve mainly promotion of creative industry in Bhutan, including the legislation on copyright. Thank you.
Well, thank you to the new father and everyone else here on the panel. I think it's really cool to have a great diverse group here, not only artists, but professionals as well. So thank you all so much for being here. And with that, we will now move on to our first of 5 topics. And our first topic being music in Bhutan, the land of the Thunder Dragon. Well, I think that anytime you go to a new country and you want to learn about its culture, you don't start off with its laws, you should start off with its music, which is the place where a lot of times cultural interaction happens the most. So I'm very curious what, specifically in Bhutan, what is the role that music plays? So I think this would be a really good question to actually ask some of our artists here. Lungten, why don't we start off with you? What role does music specifically play in Bhutan, would you say?
So in Bhutan, traditionally, music has been a collective phenomenon. So the 2 traditional genres in Bhutan, Bedra and Jungra. So if we think about it, we don't know who wrote them. We know some of the songwriters for them, but we don't know. Because it is owned by everybody in Bhutan. So mainly in Bhutan, music is a reason for people to come together, sing together, dance together, and offer it to people who are on higher seats, offer it to the gods and all the higher beings that we deeply believe in. So I think in Bhutan, traditionally music has been a collective thing for people to come together, because in Bhutan we believe that togetherness is what brings us happiness. So that's how I think music has emerged. But over the course of years, it has changed now, and new genres are coming up, and new artists are coming up, new ideas, and there are Western influences now. But traditionally, that's, I think, what music is all about in Bhutan.
Yes, I hear that music has that collective bringing together effect, right? I was at the National Day a few days ago, and it was a lot of music. So I can definitely see how music is a huge part of bringing the culture together here. So thank you, Lungten. I think I'm going to go right down to Pema. Pema, I want to ask you a very similar question about the role that music plays here in Bhutan, but maybe also talk about how does music in Bhutan express its culture and its identity as well?
So, as my friend said, it's mostly for togetherness, but also I would like to add here that it's music has always been very close to the Bhutanese people. It was for pleasure mostly, not to earn from it. It was never taken in that way, but now in the last maybe 15 years now we have been exposed to the international platforms, or we are still learning about how we can earn money from music. So that's the biggest change here. But otherwise, it's very close to our hearts. It's mostly and always taken as a pleasure.
Yeah, so there's definitely been change. There's been some outside influence, but it sounds like the core is still there, right? So thank you so much, Pema. Kenga, I want to move on to you because you said before moving on to the private sector, you worked in the copyright industry yourself. How would you say the consumption of music has changed in Bhutan over maybe the past 10 or 15 years, whether it's streaming platforms, live venues? How would you say the consumption of music has changed?
All right, Derek, thank you for the question. But before I answer the question directly, I would like to also add on to the previous question about the importance of music to our culture, to the country. So I think, from my perspective, I think I would like to dissect my answer into three aspects or components. I think culturally, music has always been part and parcel of our culture. It has been an expression of our culture and identity. Bhutanese music, it is unique and distinct to we Bhutanese, us Bhutanese. So I feel that music plays an important role in preservation and the promotion of culture. And from an economic point of view, I think music, the music industry, it has shown, and it has the potential to contribute significantly to the economy, like in terms of export revenue generation. I think the export of music is like any other export of goods and services. I think the only difference is that the export of music doesn't have to be packaged in a box, or it doesn't have to be transported on a jumbo truck or lorry, or it doesn't have to be put in a container or flown in a cargo flight. I think all the transactions, like be it export of music or the financial transactions, can happen digitally now. And also from an economic point of view, I think music, the music industry, it has the potential to create employment opportunities also. And I think we have two good examples here in Pema and Lungten. They are professional artists, professional singers. They've been in this field for many years, and I think they're able to stand on their own feet, make a living out of music. So this is the power of music, creating employment opportunities. And I'm sure there must be a lot of economic benefits. And the third aspect is the social aspect. I think Pema and Lungten also mentioned. I strongly believe that music is a strong, it has the power to connect people. It's like a social glue that brings people together, of all ages, regardless of the age, background, nationalities, and so forth. I think a case in point, a good example would be during social gatherings, especially in Bhutan, like birthday parties or wedding parties or a promotion party. Music is a big part of all these parties or ceremonies, a part and parcel of all these social gatherings. I think without music, I can't imagine. No? Can you imagine a ceremony without a party without music? It's going to look very boring, dull, and mundane. So music brings that. It adds the energy. It gives energy. It gives it adds color, it brings lives to people's life. So I think socially, music plays an important role in the social well-being of the society, and on an individual level also. I think it helps in individual well-being, like mental health also. I think I read an article where now I think even in the health sector, in the operation theaters, the doctors use music to calm people's mind, right? And then on an individual level, like this morning while I was driving from Paro to Thimphu for this live chat, I was feeling kind of nervous also. My heart was racing. So I put on the music, it helped me to calm down, I feel a little confident, to ease my nervousness. So this is the power of music. And what was the question?
No, you answered the question very well. So I think we can end right there.
Thank you.
Thank you so much, Kenga, for your contribution there. I also want to move on here to Tempa as well, because Tempa, you have a very interesting viewpoint, working in this industry more than 20 years, and you've seen the change in the consumption. Could you tell us a little bit about that, how change in music consumption and the style that you've seen over the past 20 years?
Now, as our members, chat members, they mentioned that music earlier it's like sort of used for social cohesion and then like creative expression. But now, in this 21st century, we need to integrate music as some sort of economic tool. So that's why now, over the past year, the consumption has changed. And we view music as one of the copyright components where we can really showcase the world, how the creators benefit from the creativity, then royalty, and the creation of jobs and so on. So over the 20 years, now looking back, I feel that the only source of consumption was through radio, through CD cassettes. I mean, some tangible mode where people sell music. And even the genre where whatever we see on very few live events through radio. And then there were limited sort of choice. And the CDs, DVDs, they reach only within the territory of Bhutan. And there was no concept of going global. But we'll end up consuming Western songs and music. But gradually now people are popularizing our contemporary music, which is fused with traditional lyrics and melodies with Western instruments and beats. And now youngsters are increasingly using our traditional folk sort of lyrics with the modern beats, instruments. And now genres have also expanded into like hip hop, rock, pop culture, and so on. And it's enabled mainly by the digital technology, be it online platform or be it some sort of electronic instruments. Now people are coming up with new genres, and the youth are taking interest in such creativity because it's both the supply and demand sort of situation that actually interacts. So when there are more creations, even the demand is also for something which is modern, using the sort of contemporary technology. So we see some sort of scope in really taking up music global through the digital environments. Thank you.
Yes, thank you very much, Tempa. And it's very similar. Yes, we can clap for that. Absolutely. It's cool to hear that there's an active movement now to not only export Bhutanese culture, but also make sure that the artists here are fairly compensated and their rights are protected. So we thank you for your service and your contribution there as well. So I did not know this until I came here, but there's a lot of interaction, obviously, with India being very close. So I think inevitably in the creative sector, that means there was always some influence from Bollywood. But as a country's culture becomes more famous, I think you see locals start to listen to local voices, right? People who look like them, people who speak the same language as them. So I'd be curious, Pema, I want to ask you as an artist yourself, how has the style of Bhutanese music changed kind of throughout your career?
Thank you. So all the Bhutanese being very near, I mean, our country is near to India, and we have our parents, our grandparents, everybody grew up listening to Hindi songs, like very old Hindi songs. And our, of course, some of our grandparents also listened to Shungdra and Bidra. But later on, there was another genre, that was a new genre, which is called Riksar. And that was a big influence from the Bollywood side. So it has a lot of influence there, but I think what the youth now or our generation is trying to do is we are trying to fusion the traditional songs with the pop genre and making it our own. So that's going on right now. It's still happening.
Okay, very cool. So it sounds like a modernization of the Bhutanese music, would you say?
At like a few years back, it was there was a very strong influence of Bollywood, but now things have changed, and things are still changing, and we are being very careful with our traditional songs and our genre, and trying to mix that, even trying to use our traditional instruments with our modern. If our tunes are a little bit modern, we make sure to use our traditional instruments to save the culture or tradition. Yeah.
Yes, it's very cool to hear that there is an active movement to maintain the culture as we try to modernize. So thank you so much for that. Lungten, I want to ask you also a similar question, because you said you've been a music engineer and you've studied music a little bit. In your career, what have been the new styles that have emerged, or the new styles that have influenced modern Bhutanese artists, would you say?
In my career, okay. I remember that, as Pema said, there's a strong influence of Hindi music, Indian music in our country. I remember back in 2009, when I was in class 5, me and my dad, we were in eastern Bhutan. We used to go on a drive to the town, small town. And he used to listen to lots of Indian songs. And I do not understand Hindi, still to this day. But he used to show me some Indian songs. There was specifically one Indian song that I remember. It goes something like, Hire Moti Maina Chahu. And I still don't know what that means. So that's the extent of influence of Bollywood music on us. So throughout my career, I have listened to all kinds of songs when I was starting out. And listening to English songs was a privilege that only the kids and people living in Western part of the country had. So they had access to cassettes, internet came from the West, so they listened to English songs. And some of them used to leak out to the eastern parts of the country, so I listened to a few of them. So throughout my career, I believe the biggest change is how Bhutanese music went from, let's say, films. So music used to be carried by films in Bhutan back in the day. If the singer can get an opportunity to sing in a movie, then that's a breakthrough. So one change is now there are lots of independent artists coming up, and they produce their own music in the bedroom. And some of them buy music from online. They get the copyright and everything, they record. And so I think one of the biggest change is the influence from the West now, and the rise of independent artists, and also due to social media and everything, K-pop, you might be familiar with, has a big influence on the youth. So I think it's the variation. The variation extent has grown bigger now due to social media and everything.
Well, thank you very much, Lungten. It's cool to hear that we're trying to modernize, but we're always very active about maintaining the local culture as well. So thank you so much for your contribution here. Yes, absolutely, Kanga, go ahead.
I would like to add a little bit take on from where Lungten and Pema left in terms of how the music, the style of music, right? The style of music and how the music industry has transformed or shifted or changed over the last 10 years. like from my little experience and personal observance, I feel that the music industry has undergone a big change, a big transformation. Like 10, 15 years ago, we didn't have many artists, we didn't have many songs, but now, increasingly we are seeing a lot of new singers and a lot of new songs also. If you go to social media, every day there's a new song, popping out. So I think in terms of creation also, maybe mainly because of the government support also, DoMCIIP support, there's a lot of creation going on. So there's a lot of new music, coming out. And then in terms of the biggest observation that I made would be the demand in our local music. I think it has shifted now, the preference of music. I think in the past, maybe 10 or 15 years ago, it would be considered, from my experience, from my friend circle and family circle, it would be considered to sing a Bhutanese song. It would be considered uncool to sing a Bhutanese song or listen to a Bhutanese song. But now this has shifted, no? In the last maybe 2 or 3 years or 5 years, I think everyone is singing Bhutanese song. Everyone is listening to Bhutanese song now. Like very suddenly, so suddenly now it has become, cool to listen to Bhutanese song, to sing, to sing to Bhutanese song. So which is very cool, right? In a way.
Yes, absolutely. I think I can really emphasize with that as a first generation Korean American. When I was growing up, no one knew where Korea was, and now everything is Korean. The music is Korean, the food is Korean. So it's great to hear that Bhutan has that going as well. So thank you so much, Kenga. With that, we are going to wrap up our first topic and now move on to our second topic, that is the rise of independent artists. I think creators and artists and musicians all dream of ultimately going independent because that gives them the autonomy to be able to really flex their creative potential without somebody really holding them down. And a lot of times the film industry and the music industry come together, and a lot of times that's when a lot of musicians receive their first microphone. So Pema is not only you're an actress as well, you're a singer as well. And Pema, you were a playback singer at the beginning of your career. So could you tell us a little bit about how that works and also maybe how you've been able to use your music in film as well?
So yes, I have been a playback singer for a few years. I mean, I still sing if the song is if I like the song. So it started when in 2009 or 10, I don't quite remember, but at the time they composed the songs. They composed the lyrics, the tunes, everything. My job was just to give my vocals, and they would fix my charges also. So the power was basically completely with them. So now that has changed over the years. I've been singing for almost 15 years. So now I get to compose my own songs. I get to express my feelings and lyrics-wise or tune-wise or make my videos. And people, I am really glad that I was not just supported in the film as a playback singer, but also now I noticed that people really like me on screen, and that has changed in the past few years. That now I finally come on stage or be on a music video, because at that time I was just giving my vocals. Nobody knew me, like my face was not shown. I was just there. I just give my vocals and then I take the money and go home. So that has changed. And now I think with a lot of support from the government and the fans, and of course myself also for putting in so much hard work and passion, I think that has changed. Now the film industry or of course I'm thankful to the film industry for giving me the opportunity. And but now what has changed is now I compose songs for them. I have that freedom to, compose the song. If I don't like what they have composed, I would make changes, and they are happy with that and they trust me with that. So that has changed over the years, and which I'm very happy about it. Yeah.
Yes, it's cool to hear now you have a bit more control over the songs and the composition as well. So thank you so much, Pema. Kenga, I think I'm going to come back to you actually, because you're a former copyright official, and perhaps you saw in your career the interaction between the film industry and the music industry here in Bhutan. Could you kind of tell us a little bit about the interaction between the film industry and the music industry, and maybe the opportunities that came up there?
Well, I think drawing the connection between the film industry and the music industry, I think for musicians in the country, now things have changed, definitely. But in the past, I think the only marketplace, in terms of business model, the only marketplace where musicians could, sing and then sell their work was only in the films, right? I think all the artists would agree. I think that was the only marketplace. You would sing and then the song would be, bought by the producers of the film. So I think the film industry has given a lot of opportunities for the music industry also. I think these two industries complements each other. And when it comes to the royalty payment also, I think there are some challenges, I think, especially between the musicians and the film producers. I think this is largely because we don't have a proper royalty collection system or mechanism in the country right now. So right now what's happening is the artists, they are paid a one-time fee at the beginning, and then that's it. I think there are no follow-up payments. And if we go strictly by the copyright law, I think artists, singers, they have the opportunity to, earn later on also, not just the payment that they receive in the beginning, but they have the opportunity to earn later on also when the music is used or is used. But this is not happening right now because partly because there is a lack of copyright awareness, and also because we lack a proper rights management system in the country. So I think there's a lot of work needs to be done in order to address the issue related to royalty collection, especially between the musicians and the producers of the film industry.
Yes, Kengo, thank you so much for that. And I think definitely you did a great job highlighting how there needs to be a copyright infrastructure that supports the artists. So thank you so much for that. I also want to talk to Lungten here because we're still talking about independent artists. And I think being independent is very exciting, but it also comes with a lot of responsibilities because if you're an independent artist, not only do you perform, but you have to manage your contracts, collaboration, marketing, it's all on you. Lungten, as an independent artist, do you think right now in Bhutan, it's possible to continue to thrive as an independent artist? What would you say to maybe other independent artists to encourage them? Is it possible to thrive as an independent artist here?
I suppose it is the golden age in Bhutan right now for independent artists because firstly, we are a very small population country, just 700, barely a minimum, not even a million. So for this market, for a small market, having a singer who is managed by a bigger company, who has a marketing agent, who has let's say a producer, who has even security guards. We haven't reached that level right now. So I think to be an independent artist means also to have the freedom to express oneself. So I think once you're independent, you have a freedom to explore. So you are not inclined to having to sing the song that would appeal the public. So you have the freedom to explore, experiment, and that is the right stage that we are in right now in Bhutan. So lots of influences are coming in, lots of different styles, trends are coming in right now, but it is in the hands of the people to decide what they like. And as an independent artist, then you have a choice, I believe. And then you can decide what you want to do, the kind of music you like. If you want to make more money, the kind of songs you have to sing. So I think being an independent artist, it's the golden age in Bhutan right now. It's advantages both towards the artist and the audience.
Well, very good to hear. Very good to hear we're having this live chat in the golden age, right? So thank you so much for that. Pema, I also want to ask you because you said at the beginning of your career, really it was just film, but I'm curious as an independent artist, do you think right now in Bhutan it's possible to be an independent artist? And how is that, how is the environment for independent artists, would you say?
Yes, I didn't quite get the second question, sorry.
Oh, no, it's okay. Could you just tell us maybe based on your career, because you started off mainly in film, but now you're becoming more and more independent. What would you say to maybe other independent artists in Bhutan?
So yes, it's. I mean, it was a blessing for me to firstly get the opportunity to sing for movies, because at that time, 15 years back, movies were doing really well in the country. Movies were the only way to get through the whole country. Social media was used very less here, and now that was a plus point for me. I got lucky, fortunately, and over the years, with a lot of practice, with a lot of experience, I've also wanted to express, and my passion in music was strong. I wanted to compose my own songs. I wanted to be in the video myself, and that happened. So now I'm an independent artist, and social media played a very vital role for us. It really helped. It made our journey very easy. It was to reach, especially the whole, not just the country, but the people outside. So it was a very good path, good way to use the social media. So that helped a lot. And the independent artists now, the young kids, what they're doing is they just go to YouTube, they get the tracks, they buy the tracks, they compose their songs, their lyrics, everything, and they just follow the trending songs, and that's becoming very easy now. So the only advice I could give is not lose the culture or our tradition, not go too much west or too, like keep it, like know that is Bhutanese song, even if you try to fusion it. So that's what our generation are trying to do, right? I don't know. I am, especially the language, we're trying to keep it our language, not too much Western. We are very careful with our pronunciations. And even some tunes or even the traditional instrument, we try to use it so that music sounds Bhutanese. When the outside people listens to it, oh, that's a Bhutanese song, So don't lose that. That's my only advice. Otherwise, they're doing a great job. Thank you.
Yes, thank you so much, Pema. I think those are very wise words said there. So thank you so much for that. This concludes our second topic, the rise of independent artists. But before we move on to our third topic, talking about copyright, we actually have a video highlighting our very own Pema Deki's work. So why don't we go ahead and watch that video? Okay, excellent. Well, that's a very well done video. Pema, very shortly, could you just tell us a little bit about the video? I see that you performed in many different countries.
Yes, that was my photographer. He did the video. I didn't have time. I was celebrating the National Day in Bhutan. So he did all the clippings and everything. That was like my, I had to keep it short. Otherwise, it was an hour long or so. But yeah, so those were the places. It was in and around Bhutan, and some places were outside Bhutan. That was in USA and Australia and India. And yeah, that was, I kept it short.
Well, very cool. We're definitely looking forward to hearing more from your experience there. So thank you so much for that video. We are now moving on to our third of 5 topics, and that is copyright, from a relatively new concept to growing awareness. So Bhutan has a 2001 Copyright Act, which in internet years is really a different universe when you think about 2001. But the core is the same, just as any other Copyright Act throughout the world, and that's very simple. If you create something, you have a right in the creative work. So I think no one better to explain this copyright than Mr. Tempo over here. Tempo, can you tell us, what does the Copyright Act cover, and what does it mean specifically maybe for songwriters and performers?
Thank you, Derek. Bhutan endorsed Copyright Act of the Kingdom of Bhutan in 2001. That was just around the time when internet was introduced in the country, but only in the later half of 2000 people started using internet. But that I would like to explain later on. But what I would like to say is the Copyright Act doesn't cover much on the digital platform, but coincidentally, it's in compliance with the Berne Convention. Although we joined in 2004, our Copyright Act of 2001 was in synergy with the Berne Convention of 1886. So with this, I would like to say that the copyright itself covers lots of protection of literary and artistic works, including audiovisuals and musical works. And on the musical works, it has 3 components. It gives rights to the music itself, the lyrics, melodies for the artists, the lyricists, and the composers. They have the right to stop others from copying, reproduction, or broadcasting or performing without their authorization. And the second component is for the sound recording, which is also known as producers of phonograms, or in Bhutan they are like music producers, music studios. So there they also have right over the audio file, that the music, and they can stop others from like broadcasting, reproducing, or performing with their authorization, or even in for using in some commercial ads and all. They can stop. They have the right. And the third one is, which most of our artists ignore, is the performer's right. So that includes both singers as well as choreographers. So whatever they perform, although it may not be their original song, if they perform publicly or in events, so they can stop others from recording without their authorization, or broadcasting whatever has been recorded without their authorization, and then using in some commercial ads and ventures. So that's why even for rock concert tonight, we don't allow professional cameras, because we fear that they might record it in a very good form, and then they might use it commercially without our authorization. So these 3 elements are there, and the rights given by our Copyright Act is for the melodies, I mean the song itself, the music, for the lyricist, composer, it's a life of author plus 50 years after passing away of the author. And for the audio file or the sound recording, it's 50 years from the date of publication or launch of the song. And for the performers, it's 50 years from the day the artist performed. That's the duration of copyright they have.
Okay, well, thank you, Tempa. That was a very good introduction to the Copyright Act. And you also mentioned that there are currently efforts to make revisions to the Copyright Act, and perhaps that has to do with maybe to adapt it to the digital age. Could you tell us about maybe some of the proposed revisions to the Copyright Act?
This is a work in progress, and in November, we got endorsement to go ahead with the revision of the Copyright Act of 2001. And this is mainly because of the evolving scenario as the country moves forward, and with the embracing of digital technology, as well as some of the emerging issues and policy discussions. We not only want to focus on the new areas of copyright, but also refine some of the existing bottlenecks or constraints that we have. Because earlier 2001 Act is very broad, and it has been left to many sort of non-uniform interpretation from different enforcement agencies, as well as it created ambiguity for the artists and right holders themselves, especially on the enforcement of right. And it did not have any prescriptive or some sort of guideline for the artists on the royalty and contractual agreements with the producers. So although copyright, we understand, is a bundle of rights, because even for one music, there could be lots of right holders, the composer, the performers, and even the recording, studios. So we need to now, firstly, we will refine more on the performance right. We want to make it a little prescriptive and guide the artists. So in the reform, that will be there. And even contractual agreements, we need to make it mandatory among different parties in the copyright. And beyond that, we need to refine the existing provisions on enforcement of copyright and other related rights of broadcasting, performance, and other phonogram again. So we need to refine them and be a little prescriptive to help them, at least in the initial stage. And now new areas would be mainly on two sides, two areas. One is incorporation of digital environment, digital rights management, then curbing of online piracy. Now we have many platforms like YouTube, TikTok, even Spotify. So we want to promote now artists to actually leverage those platforms and then market their products. So we want to formalize that, and then technological protection measures, right management information, and so on, which are from other WIPO treaties. We want to integrate all those and make it relevant not only nationally but internationally. And on the other aspect would be CMO. Although we have existing provision, it's not really clear. It's mentioning that ministry has the authority to maybe create or establish one or two organizations to work on behalf of the artists to collect royalties. But we want to make it a little elaborative and empower our office to create CMO on behalf of artists. So these are the elements that would be there in the revision. Yeah. Some of the many elements. Yeah.
Yes, very comprehensive indeed. So thank you so much, Tempa, for talking about the 2001 Copyright Act. Before talking to some of our artists, I also want to maybe ask Kenga, because Kenga, you've also worked in the Copyright Office yourself. We hear about these revisions to the Copyright Act and the impact it would have on artists. What would you say about that? If these revisions were made, what kind of impact would it have on the artists and the musicians themselves?
I'll try to keep my response short, and I'll try not to be too technical also. I think copyright is a very technical and a very complex subject, so I'll try to be very succinct. So picking on where Sir Tempa left, I think the Copyright Act was enacted in 2001, and ever since its enactment in 2001, there hasn't been any revision or changes. And the department has been working on the revision of the Act for quite some time. And I think rightly so, because there has been so many changes and development in the copyright space over the last 10, 20 years, especially digital advancement And so happens that, you know, digital technology outpaces the change in, I think, the amendment of the laws. So it's high time now the Copyright Act is, you know, reviewed and revised, so that it is responsive to all the changes that are happening, and also to strengthen the protection, strengthen the protection system for the artists and the other creators as well. And I think when I was in the department, while I was there in the department, I was also involved in the revision of the act, in revising the draft. So we were also, you know, trying to include provisions from the major WIPO major WIPO treaties and conventions, like the WCT and the WPPT, combinedly called as the Internet treaties. And then we also have the Beijing Treaty for audiovisual works, and also the Marrakesh Treaty. So, you know, from my personal opinion, I think it's very important the government, you know, realizes the importance of joining such kind of international treaties and conventions to strengthen the copyright regime in the country. You know, by joining these treaties, like especially the WCT and the WPPT, this is going to strengthen the protection for the artists, especially in the digital space. And also, like with not, I think the Beijing audiovisual may not be directly related to, you know, today's topic, but I think this is also very important. The audiovisual treaty, I think, is going to give the actors in the audiovisual works more protection, more security. You know, right now, if you look at the act, I think the protection is mostly for the producers of the audiovisual work, or, you know, in some countries it's also given to the directors. But I think if you join the Beijing Audiovisual Treaty, it's gonna give more, you know, leverage and, you know, strength to the actors, And also the Marrakesh Treaty is a very important treaty. It has a very noble cause and social cause. I think joining the Marrakesh Treaty would, you know, enable the disabled people, especially the print disabled people, to have access to, you know, legal, to have access to published copyright works legally. So I think that this is a work in progress. The department is working, and I think all these important provisions are being included in the draft, in the amendment bill. Thank you very much.
Yes, thank you very much, Kenga. And I thought you brought up a very good point, and that is a lot of people think copyright, because we're dealing with entertainment and artists. It's very exciting, and it is exciting in some sense, but honestly, copyright is a very technical field, and that a lot of times contributes to the general public and even artists not being aware of what copyright really is. And it really affects the general awareness of copyright in general. I want to ask this question to our artists. Lungten, I think I'm going to start off with you. What would you say is the general perception of copyright among Bhutanese artists, the general awareness?
Copyright is a fairly new idea in Bhutan, relatively. There's this thing in Bhutan called WIPO. So basically, it's just talking about cause and effect. So if you have something, I won't steal that, because I know that one day one of my things is going to be stolen, or something bad is going to happen to me. That's how we have always believed in things, but not when it comes to songs and copyrights. So there is a paradox. And we had a mindset: if you can get it for free, don't pay. So movies, music, we still don't have any theaters in Bhutan where we project the international movies and stuff like that. And now we have internet, and we watch movies through lots of sites like Netflix, we pay, and but still no theaters. But back in the day when internet was not there, we had to watch it from pirated copies, and we had to listen to music from the pirated CDs. So there's a very honest take from us. Now the internet is coming up, and most of the Bhutanese people, they are exposed to Western countries. Like a significant number of people, Bhutanese people, are in Australia, and now they are more respectful towards the copyright. Now, when it comes to artists, when we started out, we had no idea what copyright was. We had no idea what royalty was, because it was not a thing in Bhutan. So as I mentioned earlier, in Bhutan, music is kind of a collective phenomenon. Like Bedra and Jungdra, nobody knows who owns them. So it's a public domain. Like, I think it's for everybody to sing and dance. Some people record their covers, and we don't know who to ask permission to sing those songs like Bedra. So I think it has never been a thing, copyright. But now it's a lot better. Now it's a lot better because of the social media, because of awareness, and now because of this kind of talks, because of government's projects that informs people. It's a lot better, and artists are now beginning to also take copyright and royalties seriously. Now artists are saying, oh, this is my music. If I make a music video, it should be on my YouTube. And I think these artists are more serious now.
Well, great to see that there's definitely been an increase in awareness. So thank you so much, Lungten. Pema, I also want to give you a chance to speak. As an artist yourself, what would you say is the general awareness of copyright, maybe amongst the general population in Bhutan? What would you say?
So as Lungten pointed out, copyright is still very new to our Bhutanese people. Of course, it's the artists, they're still learning and they're being educated by the office, Department of Media. Thanks to them, we are also still at the learning age right now. But it's going to be a tough job for the public to understand this, that about royalties or the copyrights, or even the radio stations won't be very happy with us, or the TV stations, or, so it's because Bhutanese mindsets has always been as music is free, they don't understand, or they never heard of it. Actually, it's not their fault. So they think music is free, it's everywhere. But now we are taking it forward. We are making them understand, especially the artists, the musicians. We are trying to, even if we go live or on TikTok or Facebook or Instagram, we try to tell people indirectly to understand them. I mean, make them understand. So, but we have a long way to go for the public to understand this, that we deserve some royalties, or that copyright, it belongs to the artist. So they need to really keep their minds open and be kind to us and make this easy for us.
Yes, absolutely, because music it's a service. Music has inherent value, which means that you deserve to be compensated for it. So I definitely am looking forward to continuing to see copyright become more of a thing here in Bhutan. Before we wrap this up, I am going to ask Tempa one more very quick question, because we have to stay on schedule, but it's kind of a big question, and that is, what needs to be done to increase awareness of copyright in Bhutan, not just with the artists, but with the general public? What would you say?
I feel copyright is widely known and heard word in Bhutan, but least understood in terms of principle and rational. So copyright is like even in child's mouth, because they hear like songs like copyright and all. So they reproduce. But in terms of understanding, even our artists, they're really confused. So that's why we need to look at from different angles. We need to look at our roots now, because people value creativity in Bhutan, but they are confused about when it comes to paying. Now, in my experience, when I was younger, we wanted to consume Hollywood, films, so not the songs, but songs we get free from many sources. But Hollywood films, there was no internet, there was no OTTs. So what we do is we'll end up buying the pirated ones, as Lungten mentioned. It's not because we wanted to buy that, because of lack of accessibility. Now, even when they bring the original copies, then it costs same as those people pay in the US. Now compare the per capita of Bhutan and US. So because of accessibility, lack of accessibility, as well as a lack of, unaffordability situation. People land up, pirating, and it has become a norm. Now, when we talk about especially musicians or the music artists, there could be around now at the most 300 people who are well established. Now, compared with the general population, they become like 0.1 or 1%, let's say. So 99% of the consumers, they think this is not their business. It's to do with the music producer. It's not our business. So why should they care? They have other things too. So that's why now the challenges become, increasingly tough. And we actually try through different mode to create awareness. People respect and they want to pay, but they don't know how. And now, because through CMOs and other tools, we will have to do it. But CMOs are very high, at a higher level. Now, what we even when we say awareness, it can be at different levels. Even a road show without any preparation, like giving some messages, could be awareness. But hand-holding some of the relevant people and pulling in the hall and creating like a subject matter, tailor-made awareness would be little impactful than road shows. And then hand-holdings and content creations, and funding artists for content creation, and then teaching them on right management. That is also awareness, but at different levels. So we need to now, rather than creating awareness blindly, rather than shooting arrow in the sky or in the dark, we need to be little cautious. We need to do surgical strike now. We need to look at where we need to put effort. Otherwise, we call in like 1,000 students, final year students, give talk on copyright. Next year, another 1,000 comes. And among the 1,000, maybe 1 or 2 could actually leverage on what we are saying. So we don't want to waste such effort. Now, I think another impactful area where we could create awareness would be to put in the school university curriculum, because everyone will be like mandated to study some modules on copyright and even other intellectual property rights. And then we do create some videos and put on OTTs and other films. But such efforts we have been doing, but they have been like shooting in the darkness so far. So we need to look at some very practical tools and even the target audience to create awareness, impactful awareness, not simply awareness.
Sure. Well, I'm very much looking to this surgical strike. I'm very much going to look forward to that in the future. So thank you so much, Tempa. I think one way to think about awareness, copyright awareness, it's not necessarily about turning every artist into a lawyer or a legal expert, because as we've seen, copyright is actually very, very technical. But I think it's just giving the musicians and the creators just enough knowledge to maybe use basic agreements, basic contracts, and also to know when to say no when they feel like their rights are being taken advantage of. I think that's really awareness bundled down very simply. So thank you all for your contribution on this technical topic that is copyright. Before we move on to our 4th of 5 topics, we have another video from our very own Lungten. So why don't we go ahead and watch Lungten's video. Very, very cool. Well, Lungten, I think I should definitely give you a quick chance to speak about some of your work. You've done a lot of different things here. Can you tell us a little bit about the video?
Check. Okay. So these are some of my music videos that I've worked on. I take music as a medium to tell stories, and stories have an impact. It has the power to touch people, and when you touch people in the right way, it triggers the various complexities of human emotions like compassion, kindness, togetherness, and I want to give the stories to the people. So yeah, those are some of my music videos I've worked on.
Well, thank you so much for that. We're definitely wishing you all the best here in the future. So thank you, Lungten. Well, with that, we are now going to move on to our fourth of 5 topics, and that is monetizing talent and protecting rights. So today in Bhutan, we're specifically talking about copyright with music. So with music comes a lot of songs, and a lot of people don't realize, but there's so much that goes into a song. A song itself is a bundle of many rights of the musician. You have the right to reproduce, the right to perform the work, the right to make a derivative work or a translation or a remix. The list really goes on and on. But anytime somebody else uses an artist's song, there has to be payment and there has to be permission as well. We might think that music is free to enjoy, but we also have to remember that artists have spent a lot of time and really poured their heart and soul into their creative work, which really means that they deserve to be compensated and recognized for that creative work itself. So we're going to talk a little about this bundle that is copyright. Why don't we start off with Pema? Pema, do you think, when artists in Bhutan work with songs, do you think they understand that a song is a bundle of rights, would you say?
We are still learning on that, about monetizing, about using our social media to use it not just to promote our videos, but to monetize it, like especially YouTube. That's been helping a lot of us. Many of the artists now, they have been verified and they are monetizing, they're earning from there. And that's helping a lot for the artist. And what was the question?
Just the bundle, I guess. So like we said, it's a bundle of rights. So do you think that artists understand that, when you have a song, you have the right to reproduce the song, the right to synchronize it. Do you think that general awareness is there with the artists?
I mean, that's still a very long way to go, I feel, because there are other platforms where the moment the artists release their songs on YouTube or Spotify, it's already on some other platforms, and people start downloading it, they start sharing it, and we're losing a lot of earnings from that kind of websites. So now we are being very careful. We do not post in such websites, especially SoundCloud, if that's okay to mention. SoundCloud has really, it did not help our artists, especially Bhutanese artists. I don't know about others, but Spotify has been helping us earn, and even YouTube. But like I said, SoundCloud has the people. It was so easy for people to download our songs, even the latest songs. They could get it in few seconds. So now the Bhutanese artists, we are focusing on Spotify and YouTube. So yeah. So even the public, they're like whenever our music is out, they're like searching in SoundCloud, but it's never there now. So we are trying our best. Yeah.
Yeah, we just got to keep trying. And I thought you brought a very good point about when a song actually goes on a streaming platform, there are rights that are going back and forth. So that's a very important part right there. So thank you so much, Pema. Kenga, I want to ask you a question specifically about licensing. Licensing is just a very fancy word for permission. Licensing just means this is my song, but I'm going to let you use it under certain conditions. Kenga, from your experience at the Copyright Office, do you think that artists in Bhutan understand licensing their music?
Well, I think talking about licensing, it takes us back to the topic of awareness again. So from my, opinion, from my observations, working at the department for the past 10 years, I've worked with so many creators, artists. I think in terms of awareness amongst the creators, artists also, it varies the level of awareness of copyright. We have some artists who are completely new to the concept of copyright. Then we have some artists with a moderate understanding and knowledge about copyright. Then we have some artists who are, well advanced, like very conversant with, with their rights about they know their copyright, they know their rights. So much so that I think these people, they can also, create awareness or, provide talks to the public about the importance of copyright and the rights. So I think in terms of the understanding of the rights amongst the artists, it differs from artist to artist. So I think for the artists who are well versed or who understand the rights, I think they have an advantage while sitting down with the other party, and signing the contract licensing. And for those without any understanding or knowledge about copyright, the bundle of rights, I think they are left at the mercy of the other party. The other party would draw the contract in favor of them. So I think it depends. But in general, I think licensing is a new concept. I think it's a new concept. I'm sure there must be a contract that's being signed between the parties, but I'm not sure whether the people who are signing the contract, whether they are aware of the terms and conditions that are available or that are laid down in the contract.
Yes, very good connection you made there about how really licensing, it goes back to awareness of copyright. That was a very good point. So thank you so much, Kenga. Lungten, a quick word I want to ask you also about is the use of contracts with musicians here in Bhutan. So kind of in my practice, it's very natural to have a written contract and have both sides maybe negotiate the contract. But how are contracts used here in Bhutan, or is it mainly just informal verbal agreements?
Most of the time, contracts are not a thing in Bhutan. So being a small community, we know each other very well, most of them. So the thing is, there's a thing called Ngoshe Dinshe in Bhutan. So basically, I know her, she knows me, and we are dependent on each other. That's what it means, the concept. So many times when we work, we go based on verbal promises and trust in each other. So if she's making a movie, for example, I'll give her a song and she'll say, I'll pay you this much. There's no contracts written. So the thing is, in Bhutan, the professional and the personal things, there's no clear boundary between the two because of how we have always lived together, depending on each other. So sometimes the mindset is, if she's making a movie, okay, I will give a song to her movie for free. And my mindset would be, next time, if I want something, I can ask from her. So there's this mindset in Bhutan, and it's deeply rooted in all of us. So contracts are not a thing in Bhutan. But to add on to copyright, I want to give a big shout out to one of the characters in a Bhutanese story. His name is Meme Hele Hele. So Meme Hele Hele, I think, is the first person in Bhutan to ever give importance to intellectual property. And basically the folklore is, I'll keep it very short. Basically, he had a cow, I think. I might miss on the details, but the essence is he had a cow. He exchanges it with someone with a goat. Now he has a goat, exchanges it with someone with a hen, and finally it goes to a flute. And then he exchanged it to learn a song. So now in turn, he had a cow that he exchanged with a song. So he is the first person who respected intellectual property. So big shout out to Meme Hele Hele.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
You guys are way ahead of the game then.
Yeah, he has shown us the path, but now our job is to follow him. Thank you.
Absolutely. Very well said. Yeah. Okay. Well, Bhutan is I think you guys are much farther ahead than you think you are. If it's in the folklore, probably faster than the US or Korea, But that's very cool. No, thank you so much, Lungten. It's great to hear, though, that there is the cultural aspect that comes with the contracts that you can never ignore, obviously. Before we wrap up, this fourth topic, we're going to talk a little bit about copyright registration, which a lot of people are sometimes mistaken on. Copyright registration is not some kind of magical shield. You get copyright the moment you create a work. But what registration does is it supercharges that power because you get to enforce your rights because there's a legal public record that is made with copyright registration. So Tempa, I think you'd be the perfect person to talk a little bit about copyright registration. I'm curious what the state of copyright registration is here in Bhutan, as well as why is it important that artists register their copyright with the office?
Thank you, Derek. This is very relevant to the areas of our work, and we have officials who are involved in copyright registration right here. But before that, I would like to advise on Lungten's meme hele. Unless he fixes the work in fixed form recording, he will not get copyright. if he just keeps in his mind. So fixation is very important. Let him not forget and lose the value of one cow. So with this, I would like to say that by legislation, people do not need to register copyright. It's automatic protection on creation or fixation or recording or whatever in physical as well as in audio format. But we do advocate people to register. It's called voluntary registration and deposit system since 2012. That's because firstly, it looks very professional. I mean, the person, if they register, so it's like a legal sort of document they have, and it can keep away the infringer. It could be used as a warning tool, because without registration, if they have no certificate or documents proving ownership, if they verbally warn some potential infringers, people don't actually heed to the warning. So if they circulate or send them some sort of official documents, a copy of that certificate, then the other party is a little threatened. So that's one advantage. And the second advantage would be if they want to network and collaborate with foreign artists or international some music or studios, I think it appears more like serious, authentic people who register their work. It gives confidence to the foreign parties. That is second thing. And in future, this copyright certificate could also be used by collective management organizations for royalty distribution and tracking the right author or owner and so on. So there are lots of advantages in registering copyright. And the process is very simple. It doesn't entail long waiting hours and examination as it is done for industrial property like invention, design, patent. Copyright, we keep it for 30 days open for opposition. Anyone we publish online. If nobody opposes, we register. But it doesn't mean that that person is the, we don't authenticate that person as the owner. He has to make a declaration that he is the owner. But in case of any sort of misinterpretation or litigation later on, that person has to prove, the registered owner still has to prove in the court that he is the real owner. So it's just a prima facie evidence that we give this certificate as, which means unless proven otherwise, he is still the owner. So that advantage he has, he or she has.
Yes, indeed, it's a public record, and I think it shows how important the work is to the artists and the contribution it can also have going abroad and doing collaborations with other people. So thank you so much, Tempa, for talking about copyright registration and the importance there. Let's talk a little bit about royalties. Royalty is just a fancy word for money. And like we said, you're providing a service as an artist, so you deserve to be compensated. We've heard from our panel a little bit about the situation with royalties, and I think, Pema, maybe I want to ask you about right now, how do artists in Bhutan collect royalties, or maybe what needs to be done to improve the royalty system?
Right now, earlier I mentioned especially YouTube and Spotify. That's the only platforms they earn from. And singing for a movie, or I don't think they get any royalties. I'm not very sure of that. because like Lungten said, there's no contract signing, or it's based on trust. So the composer is, or the singer is given some amount, and I think that's it. After that, the whole right is the producer or the director.
So it seems like a very informal agreement
Yes,
right now. It's just,
exactly.
you know, we rely on each other, right? So we just kind of help each other out. So Kenga, could I ask maybe you the same question about royalties
All right.
here in Bhutan? So what's the situation like, and what do you think needs to be done to improve the
All right.
royalty system?
Okay, I'll try to put myself in the singer's shoe, artist's shoe. I think in terms of royalty payment offline, I think right now, as I mentioned earlier, the singers are paid, at the beginning, a one-time fee, and that's it. After that, there's no follow-up payments. And as per copyright law, I think if you can understand your rights, then the artists, they have that, they can, they are eligible for afterwards. They can also get payments for, for the use of their music. But I think this is not happening right now. And in terms of the online royalty payment, I think with the advent of digital technology, and especially streaming platforms like YouTube, Spotify, TikTok, I think the artists have capitalized on this social media platforms. I think most of the artists now, they have a channel on these platforms, and they've been able to monetize their channels. So by monetizing the channels, I think they are receiving and getting some revenue from this streaming platforms. But personally, I feel that it's not exactly royalty, the money that you're getting from from your YouTube channel or your Spotify channel or the TikTok channels. I think the revenue that you're earning from this platform is a fraction of what you could have earned if we had a proper collective management society or a royalty collecting society. Because if we had a proper collecting system or a mechanism like a CMO in the country, all these streaming platforms, they have to go through that CMO. And I think in terms of the share of the revenue also, it will be bigger and greater for the artists. Thank you.
Yes, a very great transition here to talking about a CMO. So thank you so much, Kenga. Before we start talking about CMO, I think it's a good idea to explain a little bit about what a collective management organization is, a CMO. I like to think of it as simply an intermediary between your creators and anyone who uses the music in any sort of platform. This is not just digitally, but I tell people that if you have brick and mortar shops in your country that play music, there's always going to be a need for the CMO. Because if artists were responsible for tracking every time their song was played anywhere in the country or anywhere in the world, they would not be able to exercise their creative potential. So that's what the CMO does as an intermediary, is that they collect the royalties or the money from the music that is played throughout this country or throughout the world, and then distributes that royalty rightfully to the artists. Tempa, I think you'd be the great person to talk about a CMO, because there's talks about creating a CMO here in Bhutan. What do you think that would do for artists here?
CMO would be one of the organizations which could effectively implement Copyright Act. Because, for instance, Section 4, Part 5 of Copyright Act of the Kingdom of Bhutan, it's a definition of public communication or public performance. So it says, if somebody plays a song, be it original, but okay, pirated, we don't actually include in such an example, but even if it is original, if you play and within the family circle or close acquaintance, meaning that if you invite for a dinner like your family friends, you can play within that circle. But if it goes beyond, if somebody outside hears, that's still not permitted, which means that it qualifies as public performance, where this family has to pay to the author, I mean the music producer or the rightful copyright holder. So, but here in Bhutan, even if you perform or play that song to 1,000 people, you still feel it normal, and people don't actually feel the need to seek permission of the copyright holder. So it has become normal. There has been no formal complaints, because enforcement, we leave it completely to the right holders. Now having even the restaurants business, they play it for commercial use for the clients, customers, and the artists, they don't care to oppose those. But having CMO would put all these establishments, not the family one, but especially the commercial establishments to start with, and then negotiate on behalf of the artists or the right holders, because they cannot go every day or every month to all these outlets and then check whether they are playing their song for public and then negotiate. So that's why now CMO is an agency which collects the rights of all the independent artists. Just now we are giving music as example. There are other publishers, CMO for books and for many other creative works. Now the music CMO would gather the rights of all the independent music right holders, and then they will negotiate with the commercial establishment for the public live performance and so on. So in the end, all the artists will be member. So whatever has been earned will be distributed, but corresponding to the works used. If I am an artist and if my work has not been used by anyone, then I'll not get anything paid at the end of the year. The famous artist whose song is very viral, popular, he might get paid as per the number of times it has been played. So this is the basic concept of CMO. Yeah.
Yes, Kengo, please keep it short though, please.
All right, okay, sorry. Okay, then I'll provide a short scenario of how a CMO could, benefit the music industry and the country as a whole. I think first thing, if we have a CMO, it will, help formalize and organize the music sector in the country. Right now, we don't have a formal association of, the music sector in the country. Like all the musicians, the artists, they operate individually. And secondly, if we have a CMO, because the CMO will be administered, will be given the responsibility to administer and manage the rights on behalf of the creators, they'll be able to collect the royalties, distribute the royalties. So I think we will have a proper mechanism to in terms of royalty collection and also in terms of distribution of the royalties. And I think this will remove a lot of burden from the artists also. So artists can they don't have to worry about managing rights. I think the artists can focus and concentrate on what they do best, that is creating. And lastly, I think if you have a CMO, because the CMO will be administering and managing the rights on behalf of the artists, they will also be responsible to enforce their rights. So in a way, I think having a CMO will also bring awareness, create awareness, and also bring down the level of infringement and copyright violation in the country. Thank you.
Yes, very well said, Kengo. Because it comes down simply to having artists do best, right? And it would put more money in the pockets of Lungten and Pema, so that's always a good thing, right? So I think CMOs will be very beneficial, hopefully, in the future, so thank you all for that. We are now going to move on to our fifth and final topic, and that is Bhutan music crossing borders. So I've already heard that there's been a lot of Bhutanese music already going abroad, and it'd be very, very cool to see, I think, Bhutan, a relatively small country, if it could punch above its weight and really become Asia Pacific's next cultural powerhouse because of the charm and the culture here. And along with that, I did not know that hip hop was a very big thing here in Bhutan. So, Lungten, I'm not sure if there's Bhutanese folklore about hip hop, but if you could tell me a little bit about maybe why do you think hip hop is so popular here? And would you say there's a renewal of interest in hip hop for Bhutanese artists and musicians?
Bhutan had a trend to follow what's doing well, what everybody is following. It has been there for a long time. So we had a time when a singer called Namgechix, he used to sing for the movies. He used to be what all the children in Bhutan, all the youth in Bhutan listened to. And then came a singer called Ugen Pandey, and he sang like around 500 songs, like in his own entire career. So he's in the audience right now. He's a very handsome-looking guy, and so I think it's a trend, like hip hop. Coming back to hip hop, it's something that's trending right now. So I'm pretty sure that honestly, the children, the youth are not well informed about the background of hip hop, the style of hip hop, the purpose of hip hop, and everything. But I think it's like a trend that children are following right now, and I feel like hip hop is a very expressive genre, and children these days, especially the youth, they are more expressive. So they want to. They don't hide anything. If you look ugly, they say it on the face. I got it twice. So hip hop is a very expressive genre. So just do that. They don't. They just have to follow the rhythm, and within that rhythm, they can fit in as much words as they want. So it's like a trend, and being an expressive one. So it's a trend right now.
Okay, the expression. I know we have a rock concert later tonight. Maybe we'll do a hip hop concert next year. Maybe. Well, I guess we'll have to see, right?
It'll do really well actually if the hip hop concert is here.
Okay, well, we'll have to take note of that. So thank you so much. Pema, let me ask you about your experience performing internationally in other countries. I've heard that you've performed not only in Australia, New York, you performed in the Middle East. What do you think performing internationally does for the Bhutanese culture? And just tell us about your experience performing abroad.
So after singing for movies for many years, after coming up with different, after the songs were really popular and liked by many Bhutanese living outside, I think artists going outside the country, it was a gift by our king. On his birthday, he decided to send a group of artists in different locations, like in US, in Arabic countries, in India, to celebrate his birthday. So we were sent as a gift to the Bhutanese communities there. So I think that paved the way for artists to really get fans from Bhutanese living outside. So in 2018, I was sent to sing in New York City. That was like the biggest achievement. I'm still very grateful. And we, for the first time, the Bhutanese, they lived there for like 20, 30 years, and they listened to us, and that was the only time they could actually meet us in person. So they were excited, we were excited, and after that, we were like turn-wise sent in different places like Australia or India or US. If Lungten was sent in Australia, I was sent in US. Ogun Pandey was sent in, turn-wise. So that happened. But after a while, we got so much support from our community that they started inviting us there. They paid us, they hosted us, and which was a big breakthrough for all the artists. And now even the young artists, the uprising, the new composers, the new singers, now they are traveling outside, like you were talking about hip hop. Now the hip hop singers are going outside. We don't usually sing hip hop, right? So I think now the trend has changed, the music has changed. Now the kids are going outside, performing very well, earning very well. So I think it's all thanks to His Majesty for opening doors. And now what we're trying to do is not just for the Bhutanese listeners, we are trying our best to have foreigners, like how the K-pop, like I said, how the K-pop, we don't understand any Korean, but Bhutanese or Americans or Europeans, everybody's listening to K-pop. Everybody is mumbling the words they don't even understand. So now I think that's our next aim, to get out of our, the box, to get out of the box and get more viewers, get more supporters. Because I think even the government or our king or our artists, I think everybody is coming together, and they are seeing the potential in us, that Bhutanese songs are really good. It's trending. It has already reached in Sikkim and Tibet, and like Sonam Wangchin is traveling all the way to Paris, and not for Bhutanese community, but for Tibetans, and somehow they click or they listen to our songs. So the next aim is to go out and reach for more audience. Thank you.
Yes, I think we'll have to bring you to Korea sometime. Maybe you and Lungten. We'd love to have you, so hopefully we can put that on the to-do list as well. So thank you so much, Pema. We're going to slowly start wrapping up, but I heard a very interesting story that Ed Sheeran shared a stage in Thimphu very recently. I did not know that. That was very cool for me to hear. That's a copyright story. I think that shows that's putting Bhutan really on the global map. So that's very exciting. Kenga, I want to ask you a little bit about, so that concert was in January 2025 in Thimphu. Beyond just attracting, Ed Sheeran to Bhutan, what do you think the impact of having a global star had here for the music ecosystem?
First of all, I think the Ed Sheeran's concert in January was a major milestone event for the country. It must have been the first time that an international artist of his, caliber and stature has come to Bhutan and performed. And I think that immediately put on the global music map. And I've also, right after the event, like few days after the event, I've seen some news articles and news coverage about the concert in Bhutan. So I think it did help the country, to gain some popularity across the globe. And for the artist and for the audience in the country, I think it was a great experience, going there and watching Ed Sheeran perform. It was a great experience. And then I think for the artists in particular, I think Ed Sheeran's concert showed, what can be achieved, what is possible. And I think it also encouraged the music community, like the power of music, what can music do? And apart from that, again, I think also the like crew members, like the technicians, the sound technicians, for the light technicians, I'm sure they must have gained a lot of, insights and valuable experience working alongside the Ed Sheeran's production team. And on top of that, I think for the country also, I think it showed, and demonstrated to the world that Bhutan, a small country, a developing country, also has the ability to host and manage such kind of concerts and events. And lastly, I think the concert also perhaps paved a path or way, opened the doors for other international artists to come to Bhutan and perform. Thank you.
Did you get to go to the concert?
Yes, I was there. I was there.
What do you think?
Well, I'm not a big Ed Sheeran fan, but I've never experienced a major international concert. So I went there to experience that, and it was amazing.
Oh yeah, absolutely. I think the scale is definitely something different.
Yes.
Lungten, did you get to go to the concert?
I did.
Okay, well, what were your thoughts about the Ed Sheeran concert?
Firstly, before the concert, even before the concert, the stage was very overwhelming. I think it's the first time that Bhutan has seen such the grand setup of a stage for an A-star Western artist. So the performance from artist point of view, for example, everybody is well aware that Ed Sheeran coming here has publicized Bhutan and opened the doors for other artists to come in and stuff like that. But as an artist myself, I think he has inspired us, as Kinga said, to the kind of level that a musician can reach if you work hard and if you are very focused on your work. The kind of stage that you can reach, like Ed Sheeran has shown to all the artists of Bhutan, that I think it was a very good example for us to look up to and work towards our goal. And also, I have seen in Ed Sheeran's post on Instagram that one of my favorite bands, One Republic, the frontman Ryan Tedder, he commented, "Oh, he's been to Bhutan. I think I should go to Bhutan." So it was also exciting because I love the band One Republic. And them commenting, it has opened doors for Bhutan to other artists.
Absolutely. We've set the standard, I think. We have Ed Sheeran coming here. We have WIPO coming here. Who's next, right? We're going to keep increasing the bar, I think. So that's very exciting. Tempa, I want to give you a chance to speak because our artists and Kenga have talked about how bringing Ed Sheeran here really put Bhutan on a higher level, put it on an international stage. Maybe from a policy perspective, what needs to be done to increase the reach globally for Bhutanese musicians and artists?
As our earlier members mentioned, we initially viewed fielding our artists abroad as cultural and sort of soft power diplomacy, mainly to showcase our culture. But now we need to move a little bit at different level and promote that as a brand for our music. I mean, musical products, or international recognition. That's one advantage. And then artists themselves, they can have some economic opportunities and collaboration when we feel them outside. But to do that, there should be some sort of written policies, because policy would bring funds and support from the government and other related agencies. So it should be a collective effort. Artists on their own, they should produce quality. I mean, the production should be very high quality. They should have a digital presence. Not that I will go outside and promote myself. No, even before going out, they should have a strong digital presence, I mean, of their works. And then intellectual property rights management, they should be clear. They should untie all this bundle of rights and make it clear what actually they are trying to perform there, and not take others' work and randomly sing there. So if you are to promote yourself, I mean, and the country, first the artists should be very strict on what products they take outside. And then if there are any sort of network and collaboration, then it could help not only the individual artists, but all the artists association, I mean within the members of the creative industry, especially the music sector. Because when we feel the DoMCIIP has been supporting artists to perform in North Indian states. So our mission is not only to support this the group that we are sending. We want them to make the audience there feel the taste of Bhutanese creative, I mean the music, the contemporary music. And in the process, they help in promoting even those who are at home. We cannot field everyone there. Only the pointers and who has the potential, we feel there to pave way for other people. And even without being to one of the North Indian states, one of our an artist, he has been recognized there because of YouTube presence in that place. So he is as good as like their own people. So that's why performing outside by groups actually promotes our homeworks. So that's why it's very important, but it should be collective effort. We need funding, policy support, as well as we can use even missions and embassies to do that. But funding support should be through other agencies at home. And artists themselves should also actually network, because the limited people in the government agencies cannot look after everyone's interests. So these are the submission from the office.
You bring up a very good point. It has to be a multifaceted effort between the public and the private. The artists have their role, the public officials have their role as well. So thank you so much for that, Tempa. Pema, a very, very quick word, because you mentioned how you've used social media to promote your music. Talking about taking Bhutanese music abroad, or maybe the interactions you've had with other fans, how do you use social media to take your music beyond Bhutan?
What I did recently is I collaborated with one of the popular singer who is very well known in Tibetan communities. So he was here for a tour. So he's a good friend of mine. So thankfully he said yes to this project. So he sang my song. It's called Karselma. So now he's currently in Paris, and he was in New York. So what he's doing is he's singing my song and going around. And the video is on my YouTube. So that's how I try to use my social media, by letting a friend, or even if he's not a friend, I would request without any hesitations. If I'm lucky, right? So he and we did a music video, a very short one, and that went very well. And because of because he was featured there, I was able to get good subscriptions also. And now the Tibetans also, they know that song. So this is how I try to use my social media. And thanks to him, his name is Sonam Topten.
Yes, international collaborations. It's always a great idea.
I'm also hoping to collaborate with the Gangnam Style singer.
Right, Sai.
Yes,
We'll get Timpu style.
if he's watching that.
Yeah, we got Timpu style or Paro style, maybe. Very well. I'm looking forward to that. So thank you so much for that. I think that's going to wrap up the main session where we talked about all these different topics. So thank you everyone for your contributions. But before we get done, we're going to have a quick second for just everyone to give a concluding remark. If we could just keep it short and succinct, the future, the challenges, the potential for the Bhutanese music industry going forward. If each of you could maybe say a concluding remark, I think that would be very nice. So I think we'll just go right down the line here. So Lungten, why don't we start off with you? Could you talk about the future of the Bhutanese music industry, the main challenges, and the biggest opportunities?
Bhutan has come a long way when it comes to music, and now more than ever, everybody is very supportive of Bhutanese music. As earlier mentioned, now it's very cool to listen to Bhutanese music. The government is coming together. Even the royals themselves, they attend the concerts. Now, I think the support is very much from the audience side. And now the work should come from the artist side. Now the artists have to level up, they have to learn every day, work, and because as mentioned earlier, when Ed Sheeran came here, he showed what's possible. You don't even have to know the song, like the pure professionalism he shows on stage, it's enough to grab the people. And so artists have to work hard. The opportunities are very big. And as per the struggles, regarding copyright, I think it's a lot better now when compared to before. Now people are paying for like Spotify to listen to music, and they're watching ads on YouTube, and it's helping the artists. And it's a lot better now when it comes to copyright. Even a student from the remotest parts of Bhutan, they send me messages sometimes. Acho, which is a big brother, can we sing your song on our concert, school concert? And I say no. I say yes. And so even they have the awareness about the intellectual property, and that we have to seek permission to sing songs. So it's a lot better, and I'm seeing all the positive sides when it comes to copyright in Bhutan. Thank you.
Yes, thank you so much, Lungten. A bright future indeed for the future going forward. So thank you. Pema, could you please give your concluding remark? Just talk about the biggest challenges and the biggest opportunities going forward.
So right now it's like the best time the artists are having. Now we just have to be focused, and if you are actually if you have actually decided to make music as your career, like me and Lungten and some of our friends, we have to really focus it, because we have to stay focused and we have to give our best. And I would also like to say that it's not just like, of course, independent artist means you just work solo, right? But even Bhutan is very small. Our community, it's like very less. So I feel like the singers also needs to come together and not just like, compete to go up. But I feel like they need to come together, pull each other, and actually not just stay in the country, become famous in Bhutan. It's like, I feel it's easier to become famous in Bhutan, but now coming together, collaborating. If Lungten and my genre is same, we collaborate and make it big, try to go outside. So I feel like the singers should also come together and work hard together. And I wish everyone all the best. Thank you.
Absolutely. Thank you so much, Pamela. We wish you the best in your career as well. Kenga, we're going to move on to you for your concluding remarks. Could you tell us a little bit about the biggest challenges and the biggest opportunities you see for the music industry?
All right, Derek, thank you. I think for the creative sector and the music industry to develop, progress, and grow, I think there are three important things: creation, CPP, creation, promotion, and protection. I think creation is happening. The DoMCIIP has been the biggest support system. I think the government should facilitate creativity. The government should facilitate, people to experiment they should allow people to imagine and not only restrict themselves to what is already there. I think they should be innovative, like in terms of creating a music also. Like I know that there are hurdles and challenges, especially conflicts with tradition and culture. The government should come up with sound for that. I think the government should come out with come up with sound policy measures that will encourage creativity, allow experimentation, innovation, but at the same time ensuring that culture is not misrepresented, misinterpreted, and also culture is not deteriorated. And on the second part, promotion, I think promotion is happening. All the artists are like really promoting the works using social media. I see a lot of artists uh, promoting their works on YouTube, TikTok, mostly on TikTok. So these are tools useful to promote your work, to gain international audiences, to connect with international audiences, and to penetrate the international market. And I think for so long we have always uh, thought about we have always remained inward. We are always thinking about uh, Bhutan. Like we have never thought outwards. Trying to export our works outside. So I think now it's the time, because I think as the country step forward to make big moves, like the government has this big objective to make Bhutan a $10 billion economy by 2030. So I feel music and the artist, they have a big role to play in achieving that government's objective. So I think there should be a lot of promotion, like especially in terms of collaboration. Also now, if you want to go outwards to to international audiences, I think collaboration is very important. I think Pem Diki just said that she collaborated with some top 10. I think by doing that, Pem Diki, I'm sure you must have gained a lot of fans from India, or some top 10 fans must have followed you. So I think Buddhist artists should try to do more collaborations. I think Lungten can look forward to maybe doing a collaboration with Daljit Singh. Daljit Singh, the Punjabi rapper, he's very popular right now. He's trending right now. Likewise, I think Pem Diki, she has already done a collaboration with Somdiki, Tobdin, Sonam Tobdin. She can now think of doing a collaboration with Yo-Yo Honey Singh, or maybe Himesh Rishmiya. These are all trending artists in India right now. And if you can capture and penetrate the Indian market, just an example, India has a huge population, 1.4 billion people. And finally, on the protection part, creation is happening, promotion is also happening. On the protection part, I see that as the weak link in the creative system right now. So for protection, I think we have already discussed. For protection, I think we need to first revise the act to strengthen the protection of the artists, the creators, and then we need to step up. I mean, the government has been, the department has been doing a lot of awareness, and they should continue to create awareness. And finally, the rights management system. I think to address the issue of royalty collection, and also to reduce infringement in the country, I think we need a royalty collecting society, or a proper mechanism for royalty collection. And I think if we have these three, then I see a bright future for the creative industry. And lastly, I would also like to a big shout out to DoMCIIP. The DoMCIIP has been the biggest support system for the creative industry in the country. So thank you very much.
Yes, thank you so much, Kenga, for the very, very great words there. Yeah, we can clap for that, I think. Very well said. Tampa, why don't you wrap us up here? Your final remarks, the greatest challenges and opportunities you see.
Yeah. In order to wrap up, I'm tempted to rephrase one Anon quotation. Without science, life is primitive. Without music, life is poor. Which means so long our civilization goes on, music will have to be very relevant to balance our life. So with this, I'm saying that the challenges may not be as it is. I mean, as it was a few years back. Because earlier Lungten said this is golden era. Because in a few years back, we didn't find many musicians who are living through music. They are either doing some business or other office works. Now we see many coming up solely dedicating to music. So otherwise, that was one challenge. But we still need more people. We still need more quality musical products from Bhutan in order to go global and leverage on digital technology and online platforms. We cannot limit ourselves within the 700,000 people. If there are no any sort of foreign revenue generation, I don't think this will be sustainable. So we really need to make it as a creative products, because everything is in line right now. We are going to revise the legislation to take into consideration and enable and support artists in the digital environment. And on their part, they have to work hard, encourage each other, and maybe produce a global hit very soon to put Bhutan on global music map. So opportunities there more than challenges. And on governance part, we will do everything, like establishing CMO or revising the act to accommodate all the ongoing issues. So with this, I see only a bright future for our music industry. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Tempa, and thank you to everybody. Yes. Thank you, everybody, for your contribution. We will unfortunately not have time for question and answer, but I'm sure people can come up later and say hello and ask any questions if needed. We want to give a special thank you once again to the Department of Media, Creative Industries, and Intellectual Property here in Bhutan for being wonderful hosts, as this is our last live chat of the calendar year. It has definitely been a very interesting and exciting one, talking about copyright all across Asia Pacific. And my hope is that our artists here in Bhutan leave today's live chat feeling a little more inspired, as well better equipped to protect and monetize their rights. So thank you, everybody here, and we will see you all in our next live chat. Thank you very much.